The end of a season is oftentimes when we get really bored with our existing clothes because we've been seeing them hanging in our wardrobe for months. But what if, rather than going out and buying an entirely new wardrobe, you get creative with your existing clothes? And that's why today I want to show you 7 different challenges you can try if you want to shop your closet, save some money, and feel re-inspired with your existing clothes. Excited? Let's dive right in. So most of these challenges are actually based on the concept of limitation and boundary, but not in a negative sense. Because I feel sometimes when we have all of our clothes hanging for a current season, well, we get a little bit bored. And maybe you have a favorite way that you wear your slip skirt or your favorite tank top, and you kind of go for those outfit formulas and those combinations. And so all of the challenges in here are aiming to get you wearing your clothes in a slightly different way. So the first challenge is not for the faint of heart, but I like to use that especially at the end of season when maybe we're going a little bit into more of a transitional season, and that is the random number generator challenge. So what this means is that you're going to use a random number generator to pick a couple of pieces from each category to create a mini capsule to get dressed from. So let's say you want to have 10 different tops and 5 different bottoms in your mini capsule for a week. Fantastic. So all you need to do is split your existing items into different subgroups. So for example, all of your tank tops, all of your t-shirts, and maybe all of your long sleeve tops. And then count how many t-shirts you have. Maybe you have 10 different t-shirts. So if you've decided that you only want 3 t-shirts in your mini capsule, then go to the random number generator and just get 3 different numbers. And let's say you get 2, 3, and 7. This simply means get t-shirt number 2, t-shirt number 3, and t-shirt number 7 in your pile of t-shirts. Then you repeat the same thing for your tank tops and for your longer sleeve tops, and you're going to end up with a selection of 10 tops that probably you wouldn't have selected if you were trying to make any sort of more cohesive capsule. If you repeat the same thing with your bottoms, you're going to end up with 15 items that maybe aren't your typical capsule. And the goal of this challenge is to actually have pieces that you wouldn't normally have together next to each other, because that can genuinely inspire your creativity to maybe layer things in a different way or combine a top and a bottom that you have never worn together. Now, of course, not every outfit combination is going to be a success because of that randomness, but if you find 2 or 3 outfits that you genuinely love and 2 or 3 different combinations that you haven't really thought of before, I think that this is a success because you are going to wear the clothes that you already have in new, fun, and unexpected ways. The second challenge is something that I think is a lot easier to do, especially if you're tracking your wardrobe, and that is the highest cost per wear challenge. So all you need to do here is identify 7 tops and maybe 7 bottoms that have the highest cost per wear in your wardrobe, put them on a rack, and again, see how many combinations you can create with them. If you're someone that is already tracking cost per wear, for example, in an app like Index, you can literally just sort by highest cost per wear, and then you can go in different categories and see the different tops and bottoms. And this is exactly what I've done this week. However, you might be someone that hasn't really tracked your cost per wear, which is totally fine. So here are 2 different ways that you can identify potentially high cost per wear pieces. The first one is anything that is relatively new to your wardrobe, because chances are if you only bought something a month ago or a couple of weeks ago, you haven't worn it that much. And so this may be a piece that you play with. The other way to identify high cost per wear pieces is to think about the more expensive pieces that aren't in regular rotation. So for example, if you have a £100 pair of shoes, but you've been wearing this non-stop in the past couple of months, this is probably not a high cost per wear item. But if you have a top for a similar price that you maybe have worn 2 or 3 times, then this is going to be a high cost per wear piece. And so start with those tops and bottoms and maybe one pieces that you haven't really worn that much or that were quite expensive and you want to make sure that you're truly using. I've been doing this challenge for the past couple of days. I'm doing it for an entire week. And not only have I come up with really fun outfits that I wouldn't have necessarily put together completely on my own, but also I feel like I'm making a full use and truly re-upping the investments of my wardrobe. And so this might sound like a very simple challenge, but I think it's a really powerful one. By the way, if you're enjoying this video so far, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe so I can continue to make more videos for you. Now, let's go back into the next challenge. The next one is what they call the least worn accessories challenge, and this one is going to be really fun for those of you that like to buy accessories but maybe aren't wearing them all that much. And I think oftentimes when it comes to accessories, it is not so much that we have no idea how to wear them or anything like that. But the reason why we're not wearing them is that we're not yet proficient in effortlessly combining them into our outfits. And so what you're doing during this challenge week is you're actually training your brain to feel more comfortable putting something extra in your outfit. So in here for 7 days, try and start up the outfit with an accessory. So you can pick any sort of accessory. It might be a belt, a scarf, a hat, or even a pair of shoes or a bag that you don't wear all that much. And maybe you have a piece of statement jewelry that you also want to wear more, but you haven't started incorporating. Whatever the accessory is, pick those least worn accessories, maybe 7 or 8 of them, and then try to build an outfit with one accessory per day. So for example, if it is a scarf that you're wearing, try and see how you can incorporate that scarf into your outfit. So rather than the accessory being the afterthought, which oftentimes it is for a lot of us, starting with the accessory allows you to change how you approach outfit building. And that is likely to lead to much more creative, interesting, or new to you combinations, because you're basically changing the starting point. And so the more you do this, the more you'll naturally start to see yourself gravitating towards this belt, this scarf, this hat, or whatever the piece is. Now let's move on to a color challenge, because I feel like this one can be very fun regardless of your color preference. So if you've seen my graph of the 5 different levels of color saturation, color preference, all the way from pretty much monochrome, very low contrast outfits, all the way to incorporating multiple colors, then you know that people have different preferences. And so once you've identified what your level of preference is, I want you to go one level up or one level down. So for example, I am naturally a level 3, maybe leaning into 4 in the summer. And so I recently did a black and white challenge. So that is for me level 2, which is a mix of neutrals. And I learned so much during that challenge, because when you strip away the color from your outfits, it is actually really fun, because it makes you think about what other elements can make your outfits interesting. And so maybe it's the shape, the pattern, the proportions, layering, or anything else. And it genuinely gave me some of my best and most favorite outfits of this season. And by the way, if black and white doesn't work for you, I've actually created combinations for each of the color seasons, so you can definitely get inspired by wearing just neutrals. Now, if you're on the other end of the spectrum where you do wear a lot of neutrals, then maybe go to a level of pop of color, or maybe even incorporating 2 different colors. And I know that this is going to push you out of your comfort zone in some way and get you to use the pieces that maybe aren't as worn or as utilized in your wardrobe. And so once you get out of your comfort zone, whether that is adding more color or removing some of that color, I can guarantee you that you're going to see your wardrobe in a completely different way. And talking about seeing your wardrobe in a completely different way, challenge number 5 is to wear your holiday pieces in your regular context. So I'm pretty sure we all have a maxi dress or maybe a matching 2-piece set that you only wear on holiday. Or maybe it's a pair of sandals or a hat or a bag that you feel is very holiday appropriate, but maybe isn't necessarily real life appropriate. Now the problem is that unless you're someone that holidays for months and months every year, those pieces in your wardrobe are not getting a lot of wear. And that can feel both like a waste of money, but also a little bit of a limitation, because you only have a very specific way of wearing those pieces. So what I would challenge you in here is to take a couple of your favorite vacation pieces and try and style them in a way that works for your regular life. So for example, for me, I have this 2-piece set that is linen. I absolutely love it. I love the fun print. And while it feels perfect for a beachy summer holiday, I can actually style each of those pieces separately and create outfits that maybe feel a lot more urban and appropriate for my day-to-day life. And so, for example, taking the pair of trousers, and rather than pairing them with the crop top, which is very summery, I could wear them with a shirt and maybe a closed-toe shoe and a more structured bag to create an outfit that feels a lot more city appropriate. So if you're bored of your current wardrobe, try and incorporate some of your vacation pieces and see what outfits come to mind. The next challenge is all about textures, and I would challenge you to incorporate 3 different textures in any outfit that you create. So in here, you have access to your entire wardrobe for that season, so whatever is in your wardrobe, you can use. Now, the problem I often see, especially when it's still warm, is that our outfits lack texture, and that is why they may not feel as inspiring or as interesting as they might feel in the autumn winter, when we have a lot of fluffy textures, knits, and different pieces that create that level of dimension. Oftentimes in the summer, we pretty much have cottons, linens, all of those more flat fabrics, and that is fine. That is one texture, but have a look into your wardrobe and see what other textures do you actually have in your wardrobe. Do you maybe have a leather bag or something woven? Do you have a straw hat or a straw bag that you can incorporate? Do you maybe have a silk scarf, a silk top, or anything that is maybe a little bit more shiny? Do you have something that is maybe lacy? Or maybe do you have a cotton knit that is going to give a little bit of three-dimensionality? Any sort of texture can work in here, but the goal is to have 3 in your outfit. And so this is something that I feel can definitely make you a little bit more conscious about pairing different textures in an outfit and creating that visual interest without necessarily changing the base of your outfit. And challenge number 7 is to actually use Pinterest, but in a much more targeted way. So for example, take a piece that you already have and maybe you're looking for some fresh ideas for. And let's say it's a gray tank top. So all you need to do is go to Pinterest and put gray tank top, summer outfit ideas, and you can even put things like creative, edgy, casual, cottagecore, like try and put different aesthetics that maybe relate to your personal style. Because when you start with a piece that you already have, you're guaranteeing that the outfits that are going to come up are things that you could potentially recreate. And so again, if it comes with an outfit that is with a slip skirt, and maybe you don't necessarily have a slip skirt, do you have maybe another skirt that you can try with that tank top? Or maybe do you have a sleek pair of trousers that can replicate maybe that slightly shiny, slim way of the slip skirt? So the goal in here is to get inspired by using pieces you already have and maybe coming up with combinations of colors, accessories, silhouettes that you haven't necessarily tried before. And that can also be a really great way to transition into the autumn time, because you might actually find some outfits that are appropriate, maybe not for just now, but they might be good in the next 1 to 2 weeks. And so you can start to incorporate some of your more colder weather pieces with your existing wardrobe to try and create combinations that, again, maybe you haven't necessarily come across before. And speaking of Pinterest outfits, I filmed an entire video that is going to show you how you can take a Pinterest outfit and recreate it in a way that works for you rather than simply copy pasting. So if you want to know more about my specific method for doing that, check out this video right here, and I'll see you there. Have a nice time.